I hope your friends and family and your neighbors are flocking to the polls and making their voices heard. Greenville has seen an unprecedented amount of absentee voting. It's been unreal, both in person and by mail, during this period that we now have affectionately dubbed Votober. You can vote for a whole month. I love it. I think voting should be easier, not harder. For many of us, as Dorothy was just talking about, so much of our time, our efforts, and our energy have been poured into restoring the promise of America, the promise of our values through each of our activism. And activism manifests itself in several ways. It comes in so many different forms. You're going to see and hear from some of those activists in our community who are leaders, and they're showcasing their strengths as candidates for the Greenville County Democratic Party, but also for the people in their individual districts. But there are countless others who you don't see. Those who generously donate to candidates, those answering phones at our headquarters, coordinating sign pickup and delivery, folks that are stepping up to lead our drivers to the polls, folks that are training volunteers, and the one person that makes sure our website runs smoothly. We don't always see those people, but each of them are doing activism in their own way. And this is the time where we all lean in together harder. You're going to hear from our local slate shortly, known as down ballot candidates. But I wanted to share with you all two things that I want to stay laser focused on, in addition to our down ballot candidates. We have the opportunity to change the game this election season by electing Jamie Harrison. Not only will it ignite a transformation in the New South, a coalition of progressive, solution-oriented leaders who will change the way Washington works. I know Jamie will do it, and I know Kim Nelson will do it as well. My belief is so strong in both of these folks and their ability to change the way that Washington isn't working, in my opinion, but will work when we elect leaders like Kim and Jamie to the United States Congress, because they'll be led by science. But more importantly, they will listen before making decisions that affect our lives and our health, because every day that they're making policy, they are affecting people in Greenville County. Washington Republicans have failed to come up with a plan to fight COVID-19, refused to come to the table to pass a new relief package to help states around the country, local municipalities fund the essential services that we need. We see the current clown show that is the county council as a microcosm. They are sabotaging the Affordable Care Act, more than 8 months into a crisis that has cost our nation hundreds of thousands of lives. The consequences have been disastrous. The United States accounts for 4% of the world's population, but has 21% of the deaths and 24% of the infections. More than 220,000 Americans have died. More than 8.5 million Americans have been infected, and more than 60 million Americans have been forced to file for unemployment. And our small businesses are feeling and will continue to feel the ramifications of this pandemic for years to come. And yet Washington Republicans continue to try to make this crisis even worse by throwing our healthcare system into further chaos, by attempting, they do it so ridiculously, but when they attempt to dismantle the Affordable Care Act, but they're also appointing judges who want to strip away these rights. Healthcare is on the ballot, but so are so many other things we hold dear. As you listen to our down ballot slate, think of the ways you can lean in over these last couple weeks of the campaign cycle. Can you donate something to headquarters? TP, paper towels. We need it all. Can you make phone calls for our amazing candidates? Can you safely perform literature drops? Can you watch the polls as a poll watcher and help protect someone else's vote? What can you do down the stretch to make a difference? What if I told you we only needed 100,000 more votes in Greenville to help Jamie become our next senator? Can we do it? Can you commit to reaching out to 10 friends over this weekend and ask if they voted? If they haven't voted, ask if they have a plan. Share with them the importance of the Democrats that we have on this ticket, all of the Democrats, Whether you're friends with someone that's elected on the other side, or you think that they're the least bad of the bunch, we have great Democrats that will lead and showcase our values through their governance. And if you can commit to calling those 10 friends and asking them to do the same, imagine the relational outreach this network on this call can have. One of the strengths of our party is the way that we believe relationships matter. The way we build strength, the way we build our coalition is through unity. Let's use this network to propel Greenville forward, up and down the ballot. I challenge you to do this. Share with your friends why we need Jamie, but also why we need fresh leadership on county council here locally. Vote the entire ticket. We can transform our community through action. Let's send a resounding message this election season on how Greenville continues to evolve and how the Democratic Party continues to grow and show that we are a credible party who is looking to be a majority party. Before I get to introducing our great candidates, I want to thank our current elected officials, Senator Carl Allen, Representative Leola Robinson Simpson, Representative Chandra Dillard. I'd like to thank our city council members, Councilwoman Lillian Brock Fleming, Councilwoman Dorothy Dow, Councilman Russell Stahl, and Councilman Ken Gibson. I'd also like to thank our county council members, Councilwoman Xanthine Norris, and Councilman Enos Fant. I also want to thank our proud Democrat school board members, Ms. Glenda Morrison Fair and Michelle Caldwell. But I also want to thank the candidates that are going to share with you and that have put themselves out there. Running for office is not easy. So I want to run down the whole slate in Greenville to remind you of the caliber and quality of people we have. Thank you, Vice President Biden, for stepping up and restoring the soul of America. Thank you to one of my favorite people in the world. Y'all know this, Senator Kamala Harris, hopefully our next vice president. Thank you, Jamie Harrison, for stepping up, taking on Lindsey Graham, and giving people hope, people that look like me, young 12-year-old boys that say, I can do anything in the state of South Carolina, and I don't have to be a conservative. I can be whatever I want. Thank you to Kim Nelson for your leadership. Thank you to Hosea Cleveland. Thank you to our amazing state Senate candidates, including Senator Carl Allen, I'm already putting her out there, Dr. Dawn Bingham, Michael McCord, and Hal Wu. Thank you to our amazing state house candidates, Benjamin Smith, Javaris Howard, Stephen Dreyfus, BK Brown, Chandra Dillard, Leola Robinson Simpson, Ty Washington, and Helen Pendarvis. And thank you to our great slate of county council candidates, Ferris Johnson, Samantha Wallace, Amanda McDougall-Scott, Enos Fant, and Will Morin. I am so appreciative of the hard work and all the effort you have put in. Thank you all so much. And with that, we're going to get to our program. So we are so excited today to bring you all some of the great slate of candidates that we have. We are looking forward to changing the game, as I said, here in Greenville. So I want to start with our phenomenal slate of local candidates that are looking to change the game in county council. And I'm going to start with our current county councilman from District 25, Councilman Enos Fant. Councilman Fant, if you can hear me, if you don't mind taking yourself off mute, I would love to. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Democrats. And 11 more days, just around the corner. It's been a long, long road. We're super excited about the election. We feel good about things on our end. We're super excited about the large turnout. I love seeing those 2-hour lines wrapped around Mount Pleasant every single day. I love the text message and the inboxes where people say, I just voted for you. So we feel good about our election. More importantly, we feel good about the change that's coming on county council. We're kind of in a little lull right now. We're just waiting on Bob Taylor and Sid Case to be gone. I mean, my God, they are just the absolute no to everything. They would even be no to air to breathe if it wasn't free. So we really need some fresh voices with some vision on council. We actually need new leadership on council, period. And hopefully we'll be able to bring some of that about in the new election. Been working very closely with the county administrator. We have a lot of plans in store for next year and the years beyond with regards to urban development districts, actually using TIFs, Dorothy, in the unincorporated areas to create new business development zones, using those funds to help create money for affordable housing. There are a lot of things that we're working on while we're quietly working our way through the pandemic and quietly waiting for Bob Taylor and Sid Case to be gone. So once they're gone and we get some new voices and some new vision and some Democrats so we can have some help, I think the best is yet to come. And Eli, you don't have to be so mean about calling names to county council. I'm still on there. I mean, I know they're a little rough to get along with, but looking at the future, I'm excited. I think with the administrator and his vision, and you just have to kind of work around Butch. It's easier to get forgiveness than it is permission. We kind of learned that, so we just move forward. You're going to see some huge things in the area of affordable housing that we really haven't been able to share and haven't shared because everybody's just trying to wait and get through the election and get through all the no's that are on council to everything. But I think next year is going to be great. I'm super excited about Democrats voting. They're scared. I mean, they are absolutely scared to death. They used to laugh at me all the time about, you ought to be just glad to be here because that's it. And now they are afraid. I mean, they are ones who used to don't even talk to you. They're calling like, what's going on with this election? You might be in trouble. How about that? So we're super excited. Appreciate the party, all the energy you guys have put into everything, getting people to the polls, getting people motivated. I think they're going to be some big surprises come November 4th. And it's going to be a direct result of grassroots efforts like we do here in Greenville and across the country that's going to make those changes. So I appreciate everybody's support. My opponent says I'm going to hell because I voted against the to repeal the anti-gay resolution. That's why I have opposition says I stirred up trouble and divided the community because I said it wasn't okay to discriminate against people based on sexual orientation when they pay the same tax dollars as everybody else. But I'll take care of him on November 3rd. So appreciate everybody. Look forward to it. Thank you.
Councilman, I want to ask you a couple quick questions. What can anyone on this call or people do to help you down the stretch as a candidate in this race?
Man, we're good. I mean, listen, we've got all the signs out. We've already done our mailers. We got some little kids that already been doing the door knocking. Actually, the only thing I got left to do is some robocalls next week. And that's going to be the end of it. So we're just riding it out. If you got some energy and some extra people, put it somewhere else where it's much more needed. I don't mean to be arrogant, but my goodness, if I can't beat Robert E. Lee's great-great-grandson, we're all in trouble.
Oh, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the team effort. And when I speak about county council, please know I take you and Miss Anthene out because I know the force. Yeah, the force you're fighting against. But Councilman, please know you are a champion, and when you get help, we're going to be able to see that vision that you've been fighting for more because you'll have more votes to support that vision. So thank you for your leadership. Continue to do well. And what I tell everyone, the better Councilman Fant does, the better Jamie Harrison does, the better Kim Nelson does. So let's run up the score in every single one of our districts. Thank you, Councilman, very much.
Thank you, sir.
The next person that I'd like to introduce is our county council candidate in the southern half of our district. Will Morin is someone who is an environmental leader, is someone who is an activist in the community, and is someone who is running against our current chairman, Butch Kervin. Will has been a candidate before, but has really honed his message this cycle to make sure that they're representing his district and county council. So Will, thank you for unmuting yourself first of all, and I want to give you the floor and talk about your race in District 27 and share with the folks a little bit where District 27 is.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Good. So District 27 is, so if you can think about Five Forks, it is the southern half. It takes Woodruff Road south of that, and 385 and east of that, all the way down to the Fountain County line. We have, I basically bought as many yard signs as I had in 2018 for my Congress race, and didn't realize how many they were. And they are literally everywhere, but I am still looking for help for getting lit drops, and actually I have some extra cash on hand so I can pay some youth to go out to help me do this. But the biggest things for me with running for this race is that I am the first candidate to ever run against Butch Kirby. He is not a very good person. He has no moral values. He has no ethics among him. And this is proven in, if you've read the paper this week, both Post and Courier and the Greenville News, how he pays other council members to vote on his side. It's about, my campaign is about, like I said, like Eli said, it's about the environment through sustainable development, building denser and bigger thoroughfares, and leaving our large swaths of land to be homes to our plants and animals, and being a resource for kids to climb in trees. And but so we have to stop the suburban sprawl. We have to do the smart things like what Dorothy Dow's doing on city council, and duplicate what they're doing in the county, because everything they do seems to be the smart thing, because they require masks, whereas the county does not. Butch Gervin has stopped every opportunity to have a mask because he says they're not germane to the conversation about COVID-19. And even the University of South Carolina has done a study saying that mask mandates save lives. But yeah, if we don't get rid of Butch Kirvin, nothing in the county will ever change. He is a bully, and he bullied his way into being chairman. And he needs to go, to quote Enos Fan. But we need to get people out to vote. And I really think that there's enough people in this aware of our message now in the county. I've had people challenge me about different things on Facebook, and they've applauded me for my stance. And these are people, I believe, that we're probably going to be voting for Butch. But yeah, I mean, and also I put in the notes here, if anybody has any those 4 or 5 youths that can come out this weekend, I am willing to pay them for their time to go out and help me finish a couple, the few remaining turfs that I have available. But I really thank you for all. And Enos Fan, you've been a tremendous resource for me. I just want to say thank you very much, sir. You've been a great mentor. Thank you.
You're more than welcome, man. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Will. And again, we'll put in the chat, just want to reiterate, Will's call to action for help is if you have anyone that you know, especially young folks, that want to get paid, he's willing to pay some canvassers is what it sounds like. So reach out to Will directly, and make sure that you are seeing the transformation that we are doing on the southern side. There's a whole lot of work being done. We have some great precinct presidents, and I'm really proud of the candidates that are putting themselves out there to get more data, but also to challenge in seats where we probably haven't challenged in a really long time. So thank you, Will. The next candidate that I have the pleasure of introducing is our candidate for District 22, Samantha Wallace. Samantha is running in the heart of Bob Jones' district. She is challenging the belly of the beast, and I couldn't think of anyone better to take on a tough fight than Samantha. Samantha is a business owner and a community activist, and she is about to tell you what her campaign has been up to and how you can help her down the stretch, but also share with you all, her message on her campaign and what she's going to do when she's elected to county council. So Samantha?
Thanks, Eli. Good morning, everybody. I feel like we're old friends here a little bit. I see a lot of familiar faces and names and people who have stepped forward with words of encouragement or writing postcards or not knocking on doors, but leaving lit. So I know I'm at the center right now today with this group of devoted Democrats who, if I can see how many of you have helped on my campaign, I can only imagine how many hours you put in elsewhere. And I have learned so much. This is my first race. And as I said to my group I had this sort of like posse of awesome high school volunteers, and I'm going to definitely let them know about your need. But we were doing our last main lit dropping this past Sunday. And I was saying to them, I mean, the number of hours that have put in to be present in my district, even in light of COVID, has just been kind of, at times it really overwhelms me, the support that I've received. And I also take it as a sign of it's time. It's time. I mean, we have worked very hard in my campaign as a team to run a tight, professional, serious race, right? Because it is serious business and it will seriously surprise a bunch of Republicans when I win in this community. However, I don't believe in our group it does surprise us. We are just finally claiming our rightful space here. And because it matters, it matters. And Councilman Fant, nothing would make me happier than sitting at that table with you and finding out about all these awesome things that have been going on. I look forward to being a part of making it all happen, seriously. Because I feel many of you have maybe heard some of my speech or stump or have taken the time to look on my website, but we are a fast growing place and the pressures are not going to go away. If the drumbeat around affordable housing and the lack of viable multimodal transportation solutions and care for our environment and good stewardship in every direction, those pressure points have been increasing, it's going to get worse. Like, we have to be proactive, smart, getting out in front and creating solutions together. So the reality of growth in our county is a big part of why I chose to run. We see how vital it is. You know, I'm grateful that Dorothy, you're here today and grateful for your service. We have to be able to work across jurisdictional lines. You bring your toys to the game, we'll bring our toys. Let's see what we can do together, because it's not going to be done by one city or really even one county. So that's a huge component of the type of leadership we need. We need people who can be savvy and diplomatic and pull people to the table together and hustle and do the work and be at other governmental entities meetings and get down to Columbia as we need to. So that is what I hope to bring to the table. And I believe that message is resonating. And then let's really address truly squaring up the truth of racial bias and the inequities that have permeated American life, and particularly, this place, and begin to actually, in a foundational way, right that. And so Inclusive Action have laid out a series of steps. One of them is finally getting the anti-bias ordinance passed that Councilman Fant put forth. This is the important work of our generation. And I think about that as and I've told my twin sons, my white, beloved boys, that this is the work of our lifetime. There's no not working on this. However, how far can my generation get this baton down the track, right? Like, how far can we get it? And then it's got to be picked. There's no stopping this baton. Like, this is a generation work. And I think we all have to accept that and be ready to do that work. So that is a priority for me. And I believe that's also resonated profoundly with the voters out there. So we feel excited, cautiously optimistic. We know it's possible, and it's possible because of all the 3,600 postcards we've sent out. That I think we've calculated up, we have done over 100,000 touches of voters so far in this race. We took it seriously. I will tell you, I've had a couple interesting conversations with Kenneth Cosgrove, the Republican candidate who lost to my current opponent. And he anecdotally told me he ran into more of my people when he was out knocking on doors around the primary time than he did my opponents. I'm not taking anything for granted. We are fighting to the end. And so we do have some phone banking shifts if you all are interested. Certainly pushing to the end with all of our tactics. So absolutely any sort of support is welcome. And I just would like to pause and say a thank you to several from my campaign team that are on this call today. And that is Eli Valentine and Paul Merlot, who have both played very central roles. And I know we all wear different hats in life, and we have to give honor to all of those different hats. And I'd like to just straightforward say, Eli, I really appreciate the care with which you've tried to walk the line with both being a team member, being, wearing that role with my team, but also being a party chair with honor and ethical management of your role in that sphere. So I can't imagine doing any of this without them. And I'm just grateful to be here and excited to be a part of true change to come.
Thank you, Sam. We need you. That's.
Oh, wait, can I say one more thing?
Yes, absolutely. I was going to ask you a follow-up too. So yeah, go ahead.
Because I failed to mention, he's like my quiet secret weapon on the team, and that is Ron Cowan, who's my treasurer. And Ron, you are like the sun and the moon, reliable. And you have made that whole side of a candidate's journey just seamless and painless. And thank you, my friend. So sorry I failed to mention that.
No, I love it. And Sam, I just want to, because this is important for people to know, you mentioned the thoughtfulness that you've tried to lead and that you have led with the campaign. But talk about why you wanted to on that seat. Why District 22?
Well, it's my home, right? Like it's what I know. It's what I've lived in. My sons were literally born, at St. Francis Women's and Families Hospital back in the day. And I'm an analytical bird. I love a good spreadsheet. I've said that before. And I did my analysis. And, I think choosing a race is a part of the journey of any candidate who's being deliberate. It's like, why this race? Why now? And I believe, well, first off, I'm the first Democrat to run in over 50 years for this seat. I believe as long as the district lines have been drawn the way they are, I'm the first Democrat to run, which just is sort of ridiculous. It does not reflect good democracy, and it certainly doesn't reflect the truth of our community. And then to be honest, it's both winnable, but it's also quite symbolic in our community, this particular district with the community institution of Bob Jones that is included, that in my lifetime of living in Greenville at one point did not allow interracial dating, right? Like it's that fresh of a story. So it's claiming who we are as a community in a very symbolic and strategic way, and running a race that can be won was what drew me to it. So I don't know if that fully answered your question.
You did, Sam, you did. And thank you. Thank you for your words, and thank you for running. And like she said, she has phone banks available. That's how you can help Sam down the stretch. And one of the things that I love, Will has this in spades from his athletic background. Councilman Fant, you've shown this. The county council candidates we're running, they're team players. That's what I love about it. They're not stabbing each other, and they're going to run as a unit. And that's what we need. People that are lifting each other up and running together, because it's about the county and it's about leadership as much as it is about that district. So I want to thank Will, Councilman Fant, and Samantha as well as our next candidate that I get to introduce, our candidate for County Council District 24, Amanda McDougall-Scott. So many of you on this call know Amanda. She is a Democrat that wears so many hats in the party, someone that will be willing to do whatever is necessary. But as a candidate, Amanda has shown true grit. She took a page out of Dorothy's book and is wearing out a bunch of shoes. So it is my great pleasure to introduce our county council candidate for District 24, Amanda McDougall-Scott.
Thank you, Eli. And it's so great to be here this morning. I sprung out of bed this morning. That's not normal for me. I am very slow to wake up. But this morning I just jumped out of bed and I was like, Brandon, we have to make breakfast for everybody. We're going to get out. We're going to rally the troops. We're going to get to as many doors as possible, and we're going to win this thing. And it's so exciting because last night, like I just mentioned, Brandon's parents came. They're here to help us out. They're here to be reinforcements and take care of Polk, who is very supportive, but also very tired of campaigning. I have worn out 2 pairs of shoes already. So J. Crew appreciates my newest purchase of new tissues. But yeah, I'm thinking about Obama this morning. I'm thinking fired up and ready to go. And I am just trying to make sure that we hit as many doors as possible. We make as many phone calls as possible. We just get the word out and win this. I mean, it's totally winnable. It's totally winnable. And it's so exciting to think about that because like I've said before, this isn't just about me. And it's not just about Sam or Will or any of the other candidates who are running. Like, this is for now and the future. And we are starting a movement. And when we win, it's going to show that people can run against Joe Dill. Like, it's doable. It's winnable. We can get those people out, and we have to. I mean, there is no place for that kind of hate when we are talking about our home and our county. Sorry, Batman wants to jump in for a minute here. So Batman's here to save the day. But I'm just excited, and I know y'all have heard me a few times. So if anybody has any questions, I'm here for it. At 10:30, we're doing a big launch to ask people to go out and do it as much as possible for us to win this weekend. I've got on my new T-shirt. I've got on my Michelle Obama necklace. Vote. I couldn't be more ready. My Hocus Pocus earrings. So does anybody have any questions for me?
You're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you. Eli, you look like you were ready to say something.
I was going to say, tell folks, I think this is a really smart group that knows the district, but just remind folks where District 24 is.
Okay.
And you already gave your ask, so you did that part already.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, cool. So there's just a sliver of Deneen in this district. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, because most of it is in Councilman Fant's and Councilwoman Norris's district. But there's just a little bit of Deneen that is in District 24. And then it goes down all of the Augusta Road area. Anything on the Augusta Road side of Cleveland Park is in the district. That whole Augusta Road area down to Chanticleer, up to Verde and Hollingsworth. And then down, if you take Malden Road down through Conisty, there's a huge chunk of Malden down there. And that's the district. And also, did I say Verde and Hollingsworth? I think I did, but yeah, and Gower.
So you have a really important question in the chat box. It is from our amazing treasurer and all-around wonderful person, Anita. When will Polk be old enough to run for president?
You know what? I've actually already calculated it, and I've got it written down somewhere, but I can't remember. I think, that's awesome. I love that question. He will be president.
I want to open it up to Will, if you're available too. I want to ask you this question too, because you alluded to it. Amanda, can you talk about the amazing resource and mentor that is Councilman Fant? Can you talk about how he's helped you and guided you? Because I think that's something that's so underrated, and I haven't thanked him enough for, but I know he's done that with a lot of y'all. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. So he has been there whenever I call him or have a question or am trying to figure out numbers that I don't necessarily know that he knows, but like the back of his hand, any just little pieces like that. And he's just been supportive for me. And I really appreciate that.
I add two things right quick, Eli. Sam, number one, there are at least 2 to 3 Republicans on council that are strongly pulling for you undercover. 3, in fact. Matter of fact, I just got a text from one of them while we were on here. So you have 3 Republicans on council that are strongly pulling for you, number one. And then number 2, Amanda, your opponent is absolutely scared to death. I mean, just terrified of this election. So you have struck fear in your opponent. And, matter of fact, a lot of them are kind of undercover. Of course, you have to understand, in Greenville, people run as Republicans because they feel how they can be reelected or be elected. They're not really deep red running, like blood in the street red. I would say a third of them probably will be voting for Biden. They just won't say it out loud. So it's 10 of them, but I would say 4 of them, maybe 5 are reasonable. And if they were somewhere else in another town, another city, they would probably run as Democrats. They won't ever admit it out loud, but they kind of talk to me quietly. So there's several on there that are pulling for both of you hard. And they kind of asked me to try to get, I guess, reassurance that they may have some different faces on there. So good luck to both of you. And Will, you know how you and I feel about the chairman. I mean, that is authoritarian,
liar in chief.
Oh yeah. And as long as he's there, we'll be under the bus forever, as long as he's there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's definitely one of the more consequential elections. I mean, I just couldn't believe that in 20 years, nobody has run against this guy. He's weak. He is a coward. He won't return my emails. I just sent him a very kind note saying I hope his wife gets better soon. Crickets. You all know, how big my heart is, how I wear on my sleeve. And when I generally reach out to somebody and say, hey, how are you doing? I mean it. Just knowing, what the thinking process is going on inside council chambers is what Enos has really helped me out with. I asked him, I don't know what, Enos, was it January when I saw you? We were in the or monthly meeting, and I asked you about is I can't remember his name now, Kervin. It shows you how much I care about him. If he was going to run again, and you said that he probably was just to hold on to the county square project, and that's really the only reason he's running. And I mean, he even lies to the newspapers. I mean, the story about the $13,000 that was part of his filings. He told the newspaper he farmed his entire campaign out to consultants. Well, down the street from me, there's a vacant piece of property that a friend of mine owns, and Kervin actually called him to put a sign in his yard. So, I mean, he's not farming anything out, and he's got his hands all over his campaign. And it's dirty. And he's stealing my signs.
Hey, Eli.
Dow, yeah, you have the floor. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to give a message. For one thing, Councilmember Fant, I have been delighted at how much we intersect every now and then. And I'm always smiling when Councilmember Fant's on the Zoom with us, because I think we really enjoy each other, and I so enjoy working with you. And what he mentioned, I think, is so true about there are some council members that would run as are Democrat to the core. You can't have it both ways, right? So everyone on here that's a candidate chose to run as a Democrat. Some of those on here could have run as Republicans and maybe had a better shot, but you were true to yourself. And that was my story last year too. You have to wake up and face your children, your family members. You're running as Democrats, I believe, and I did too, because I support the platform of the party at the national level and what it stands for. And for those who, I'm a Republican, but I really vote Democrat. You cannot have it both ways. Not in this time, not with this president. So thank you all for staying true to your core and running on the ticket that you believe in. I know how tired you are. But I also know this. On election day and the day before, many are going to say, and Councilmember Fant, you know this, they say, are you nervous? How are you feeling? And you're going to feel great because you're not leaving anything on the table. It is clear to me that there's no candidate here that is leaving any points on the table. And if you do that, then you'll wake up November 3rd, just here it comes, one way or another. I did everything. And I'm just really proud of everybody working so hard, and so proud of the party and all the work it's doing to support. And as far as the county council races, I can tell you the city is intersecting with the county on a lot of stuff. It is going to be a really exciting next 3.5 years in my case, just with the comp plans coming in and the ways we are going to collaborate on transportation and affordable housing. So I'm very excited for that. So thank you all for running and doing all the hard work you're doing. It's so apparent to me how hard you're working.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman. And I want to mention, we also have one other phenomenal county council candidate who's running in the northern half of our community. Ferris Steele Johnson is not able to make the call today, but Ferris has run a really authentic, and I think Will said it in his piece, Ferris wears her heart on her sleeve. And if you've interacted with Ferris, you know there's a place of love and a place of community building is where she comes from. Ferris is looking to take on a seat that is now open, but has been held by Sid Cates for a really, really long time. We know that it is an uphill battle. Ferris went into it knowing it's an uphill battle, but to her credit and to Dorothy's point, she's not leaving anything on the table. She's knocking, she's getting out there, and she's being her authentic self. So just really want to shout out the incredible human that Ferris is and the work that her and her team are doing to change, just like Councilman, just like Will, just like Amanda, and just like Sam. So thank you all. I'm so proud to have y'all as a county council slate, and this is going to make change for the future going forward. We have one of our phenomenal elected officials, but also a candidate for our South Carolina State House here. Representative Leola Robinson Simpson is a household name, but she's also someone that every time I hear her talk, I just learned something from. She is also, like the councilman, someone who gets behind candidates, who supports candidates, like Dorothy. She builds and believes in people and pours into people, I know, at so many levels. So Miss Leola, first of all, thank you. And if you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself and sharing any information you'd like to on your campaign and how we can help down the stretch, ma'am. And I cannot unmute you, unfortunately, Miss Leola. So if you can hear me, if you wouldn't mind just unmuting yourself. Okay, I'm going to work through the technical difficulty, but we will let Miss Leola chat with y'all whenever she gets ready. I do want to give the floor quickly to something that's really important for the party, important statewide, but really important for our democracy to work. And that is the work that we're doing. Huge kudos to Jean Marie Tankersley, our voter protection chair, our amazing voter protection chair. And our former chairwoman, who you all know would be on this call normally, but she is being our test poll watcher at the satellite location this Saturday. So she is down at County Square, and I wanted to give you some really good news that she just texted Jean Marie and I while we were on the call. The qualifying times right now are less than 2 minutes. In the beginning of the absentee period, there were 12 voters that were getting through an hour, which means that's really, really slow. It was about a 10 to 12 minute check-in process with the qualifying. I really, really want to thank not only Kate and Jean Marie, but there are several other people. Someone that just dropped in the chat, Miss Shirley Scott, sits on our voter protection committee. Phil Beckwith, Sharon Garrett, our second vice chair, Erica Edmondson, our president of Young Democrats. So many people are getting engaged. I want to give a huge shout out to Elaine McGrath, who just stepped up and coordinated our rides to the polls. So there's so much work that's going on to not only get people to the polls, but to protect the vote. We really need help poll watching. So if you have friends that are available on election day, email Jean Marie, email myself, we will put them into play, and they're helping to protect our Democratic candidates on the ground. So I just really want to give a big shout out. And Jean Marie, I know I always put you on the spot, but is there anything you want to flag to the group that is really important or that I might have missed?
Yeah, two things for the candidates, especially. I put it in the chat, but if y'all get any requests for rides when y'all are out and about and talking to voters, just send me that information and we'll make sure to get them paired up with a driver to the polls, either early voting or on the day of. Another thing, if y'all have a bunch of volunteers that I know are working super hard for y'all now, but don't necessarily have much to do on election day, feel free to send them to us and we'll utilize them day of if y'all don't have anything to do or have anything to do for them that day. But otherwise, I guess if you come into contact with any voters that say they want to help out, we definitely need more poll watchers. So you can give them my cell phone number. I'll put it in the chat and, hopefully we can definitely put them to work. But I think that's about it. Let us know if you need drivers. Let us know if there's anything that we can do. And then if you have people that want to volunteer, just let me know and I'll get in contact with them.
Yes.
So I just got a message on my Facebook Messenger thing from a woman who's in the Simpsonville residence area. She says, here, I'm reading this here. I think there's some voter suppression going on in Greenville, and I would actually she's blaming Lindsey Graham here. Lots of people on the Simpsonville residence page talking about the requested absentee ballots that have not arrived. My mother requested an absentee ballot online 3 times and faxed in a request as well. The status online has reflected that her ballot has been mailed for weeks, but when she called, she was told they never received the request. Something is not right. She plans to vote in person next week, but I fear there are many who believe their ballot is in the mail when it isn't.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And if you want to respond to that post with the South Carolina Democratic Party hotline number, I can send that to you. Okay. There are a number of people that are having issues with mail-in ballots, and I think some of them are just taking longer than people want them to take. Some of them may have been lost in the mail. It's kind of hard to tell. You can look up online to see if your ballot has been sent or not, to see the status of it. But what we're telling people now is if you haven't gotten it, just go vote and then, return your mail-in ballot if you ever get it, or just call the election commission at County Square and tell them that you are not going to vote by mail anymore and see if they can do it that way. But yeah, we don't want people to wait if they requested a long time ago and haven't gotten anything yet. But certainly
So
to the hotline and we can deal with them on an individual basis.
Is that the 640-1956?
That's my cell phone number. I mean, you can text me that if you want to, and I can put it in the hotline, but I should have the hotline number memorized, but I don't yet.
I dropped it in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
It's like tattooed in my brain.
Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to tattoo it on myself so I don't forget it, but I haven't had the opportunity yet. So.
But no, thank you, Jean Marie. And Jean Marie is literally doing such amazing work that she's now branched out to help other parts of the state. So we are so lucky to have such a talented group of Democrats that are not only committed, but are doing the work that is necessary. And Will, anytime you have that, you can always screenshot that and have people report it to that number. They're open on the weekends too. Even though voting isn't always open, they're open on Saturday and Sunday to take voters' request.
Well, can I send text messages to that 855 number?
Unfortunately, you can't. But if the person that picks up the phone, you can always screenshot your issue to them, and then they'll tag it in our system with that screenshot.
And you can always text my cell, that's 640.
Cool.
I'll probably be more apt to respond to a text anyway, because I'm usually on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, great flag. And other candidates, if things like that come up, please let us know. Please use that voter protection hotline number. It's really important that voters feel that their vote is counted fairly and that these elections are done in a free manner. I see that we have our amazing representative, Ms. Leola Robinson Simpson, now. So Ms. Leola, I'd love to give you the floor and share about your campaign and how we can help down the stretch, ma'am. All right, I think, Ms. Leola, can you hear me? Okay, I will continue, and then if we get Ms. Leola, we will make sure that we let her have time to speak. Really just want to also shout out a really important piece to this puzzle, our statewide voter protection unit. The statewide voter protection unit, or the council as it is known as, is a really group of elite, smart individuals, and Greenville County has sent 3 of our best and brightest. So Jean Marie is the leader of that troop, but all of us know the dear friend that is Susan Reardon, just the amazing, multifaceted, immensely talented human being. She's given up her time and energy, and also someone on this call that I really want to thank personally, and that's Mary Wright. Mary and I had a conversation, and she said, I want to continue to get engaged. I called my friend Chandra, who still is the director at the time of the voter protection unit. I was like, I have someone for you. I want to send you this really good person. And Mary has just leaned in and done a great job. And Mary also secured, through her relationships, 300 face shields to help support our poll watchers. So we have masks, but now we have an extra layer of safety and security. So I just want to shout out those 3 amazing women and the work that they're doing to help the party, seen and unseen. So thank you all. The last thing I want to do is just remind each and every one of us the power that each of us have to uplift people. I know that it is a tense time. There are 10 days left. I want Trump out so bad. There is nothing else that I want more, but I will not, in these last 10 days, allow myself to get to a place where I'm going to be angry and I'm going to be vitriolic and I am going to be a person that no one can work with. Yes, I am proud to be a Democrat, but I firmly believe a strong Democratic Party is at its best when there's a fighting Republican Party based on values that we can go back and debate and argue ideas with. Because at the end of the day, I believe our ideas are what's right. And I know we have intelligent people that can communicate those ideas. So in this last stretch, let's be positive. Let's continue to talk about what we will do. Yes, we want to point out what our opponents and what the Republicans have not done. Laura Haight and the communications team have done a tremendous job lacing out the terrible record that's Republican. But now it's the time of optimism. It's the time of hope. It is the time of the future. So with that, I am so honored to be your chair. So blessed to be able to serve you all. It is not easy at times, but when I wake up, I know we are all in it for the right reasons. So I want to thank my team, and I'm going to shout out everybody. Ruth Todd, my right hand, someone that I rely on more than everything. She's amazing. Sharon Garrett, Jonathan Sweeney. We have an amazing executive team led by Katie Lentz Duncan, who's returning, but also Paul Merlot and Anita Lebold and Eric Graben. We have an amazing communications team. Laura does technology and communications and keeps me on focus. So thank you, Laura. We have amazing leadership in the voter protection. I shouted out Jean Marie, Kate. We have an amazing leader, someone that I want y'all to get familiar with, Lee Leering. She's going to be a shining star for many years to come. So many people. Stacy Mars. I can't even believe I almost forgot about Stacy. She keeps me straight. She volunteers her time and keeps all of our volunteers straight. And then Kiner Johnson and our amazing volunteer network that sit at that office, get calls from crazy people, get calls from people mad about Biden signs like we produce them, but all do it with a smile. We are a team, y'all. And through this, we are going to have a lot of joy, some disappointment on November 3rd, but a lot of joy. So I want to open it up to anyone that wants to say anything, words of encouragement, words of wisdom, and how we can just continue to uplift each other and keep this momentum going. Feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like, and share something to the group if you'd like.
I just want to say, as the old timer in the group, I've been at this. God, I've lived in Greenville for 32 years, and I think I started right away. This is by far the most incredible team of people I've ever worked with. A lot of credit goes to Kate for getting us organized and starting to assemble that. But Eli, you've charged forward and brought in some new elements, and Laura's done a magnificent job on communications, and our team in communications is mind-blowingly good. I mean, they're just, the experience, their talent is deep. And I think what I want to say is, even if we lose some of these races, take heart, because every time we do this, we learn, we grow, we strengthen. And so for me, we've already won, because we're out there, we're talking, we're pushing, we're putting stuff out there, and we're stirring things up, and you've got to just keep doing it over and over and over. And we are making progress, and it's because of all of you and this entire team. So bravo, and let's fight on.
Thank you, Roxanne, for all your work. You make the Bray and our Facebook happen, and you're an integral part of this amazing team, Roxanne. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Eli, I'd like to chime in, because this kind of rocked my world yesterday afternoon. I had a constituent ask me, she was an African-American woman, and she asked, what is the city planning to respond on after the election if there are protests? And, she is afraid. And I would just like to reiterate the message of the Democratic Party, and that has always been peaceful protest. I'm hoping there is no protest and things go our way and everybody's happy about it. But the reality is the tensions are high. And if there are protests from, if we are marching, I'm marching with you peacefully. And our law enforcement in the city and the county is there to protect people and protect property. And, we will not have unrest. So I'd just like to encourage that message. And on November 4th, encourage the message of that's when we start working for 2021. Regardless of what happens on November 3rd, the work begins on November 4th towards municipal elections in 2021. And that's just so important. Politics is at a local level. There are many things on the ballot. All of our municipalities will have elections, and that's where we gain momentum towards 2022. So just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy. Anyone else want to share any thoughts or wisdom before we close out? I also did Sam, I did the same thing. I didn't think Ron and Anita, who actually make this party flow with money. So I don't know how I didn't do that. I'm so sorry. Ron is such a great steward of the money of our team, has such a great mind. I really appreciate you, Ron, so much. And Anita, for the countless work that you do and the multiple hats you wear. I apologize sincerely that I left you out, but you guys are so amazing. And then we have an amazing fundraising team who just put on an Equal Justice Forum. Regina Waldrop is leading that team of amazing people and has just carried on. And I want to reiterate what Roxanne said. I am in this place because of Kate, because of the work that Kate did, because of the relationships that Kate made. So we build upon what we have done in the past and continue to grow forward. All right. I appreciate all of you so, so much. To Will, to Sam, to Councilman Fant, to Amanda, to Miss Leola. Go win those seats. We need y'all. We need your vision. And to all of you on this call, thank you for being such great Democrats. Stay heartened, stay motivated, and make sure that we're finishing out the way we started, strong and united. Have a wonderful day, y'all, and thank you so much for everything. Bye.